During our divorce hearing, my wife smirked. "I'm taking 70% of your millions, including your dad's estate." The courtroom erupted until I stood, handed the judge a 2-page document and said, "Check again." Judge simply looked at my wife and burst out laughing. "My name's James, and 3 months ago I caught my wife Lauren cheating with her yoga instructor." She filed for divorce immediately, thinking she'd hit the jackpot since we'd been married for 5 years. Lauren strutted into that Phoenix courtroom wearing a $2,000 dress I'd bought her, confident as hell. Her lawyer was already calculating his commission on what they thought would be a $4 million payout from my construction business and dad's inheritance. The whole courtroom was packed. Lauren had actually invited some of her friends to watch what she called James's comeuppance. She'd been telling everyone for weeks how she was about to become independently wealthy. "Your Honor," her attorney announced, adjusting his expensive tie, "Mrs. Peterson deserves substantial compensation for supporting her husband's career growth during their 5-year marriage." Lauren actually winked at me from across the room. She thought I was just some heartbroken guy who'd roll over and pay whatever she demanded. Her friends in the gallery were practically grinning, waiting for the show. But here's what Lauren didn't know. 6 months before I caught her cheating, I'd started noticing weird charges on our joint credit card. Expensive dinners at restaurants I'd never been to. Hotel rooms booked during girls' trips that didn't add up. Designer lingerie purchases that never made it home. The final straw was when I found an $800 charge at a jewelry store downtown. When I asked Lauren about it, she said she'd bought herself a birthday present. Problem was, her birthday wasn't for 4 months, so I hired a private investigator named Frank. Best $5,000 I ever spent. Frank followed Lauren for 6 weeks. What he discovered was worse than I imagined. The yoga instructor was just the latest in a long line of affairs. There was also her personal trainer, a bartender from her favorite restaurant, and even one of my own business partners. Lauren had been using our joint accounts to fund these relationships. Expensive gifts, romantic getaways, even paying for her affair's gym memberships. She'd blown through nearly $50,000 of our money over 2 years. The 2-page document I handed Judge Ramirez wasn't financial records. It was Frank's detailed investigation report proving Lauren had been having multiple affairs for over 2 years, complete with time-stamped photos, hotel receipts, restaurant bills, and screenshots of explicit text messages. In Arizona, adultery doesn't automatically disqualify you from alimony, but it sure does when you've been systematically draining marital assets to fund your affairs. It's called waste of marital property, and it's a big deal in divorce court. The judge read the first page slowly, his eyebrows climbing higher with each line. He flipped to page 2, studied the photos, and then burst out laughing so hard his glasses nearly fell off. "Mrs. Peterson," he said, trying to compose himself, "not only are you getting nothing from this divorce, but according to this evidence, you owe your husband $47,000 for systematic misuse of marital funds." Lauren's face went from smug to confused to horrified in about 3 seconds flat. Her friends in the gallery started whispering frantically. One of them actually got up and left. Her lawyer immediately started packing his briefcase, clearly realizing this case had just become a career nightmare instead of a payday. Furthermore, Judge Ramirez continued, "Given the extensive documentation of financial misconduct, Mrs. Peterson will be responsible for all legal fees incurred by both parties." That meant Lauren owed an additional $23,000 in attorney costs. As we left the courtroom, I overheard Lauren frantically calling someone on her phone. "Mom, I need to move back in, and can you loan me some money?" But the story doesn't end there. 3 weeks later, I got a call from Frank, my private investigator. Turns out one of Lauren's affair partners was married too, and his wife had seen the court documents online. She filed for divorce and used my evidence in her own case. Lauren's yoga instructor lost his studio when his wife took half his assets. The bartender got fired when his manager found out he'd been using company resources for his affairs. Even my former business partner had to explain to his family why he was suddenly in the middle of a scandal. Lauren tried calling me last month, crying about how her life had fallen apart. She begged me to help her pay back the money she owed, claiming she'd learned her lesson. I told her the same thing she told me when she filed for divorce. "You made your bed, now lie in it." Remember that $800 jewelry store charge that started my investigation? I found out what it was, an engagement ring. Lauren had been planning to leave me for the yoga instructor all along. Sometimes the cheater becomes the played, and sometimes karma brings friends to the party.